The only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Unless you're black. Let's talk about it. Middle America, the Vintage Story. I'm Vin. Welcome to Middle America, y'all. Well, straight from the No Good Deed Goes Unpunished files, we have the story of Jemele Roberson. 26 years old, black male shot by the cops in the streets and killed. About to enter into the prime of his life. What crime did he commit, you say? Good question, friend. It appears that folk were in a bar and several drunk men were asked to leave the bar. Well, they did, and at least one person returns and opens fire in this bar, so starts shooting. Roberson chases down this individual and has him on the ground with his gun on his back like, do not move. So he stopped the active shooter situation and then apprehended the shooter and made it so that the shooter couldn't go anywhere until the cops arrived. I mean, this is the stuff of legends. Well, the officer responding to the scene then fired at Rosen. Witnesses state, we all yelled, he's security, and without giving any thought, they shot him. You know, I was having a chat back and forth with someone, and they said that talking about racism in 2018 is the very thing that creates racism. Yes, that was actually said. I don't think so. Now, here's a question. Do we believe that we have a racial issue in our country with police or no? Do you think that if this situation had been different, let's say that the apprehending party was white and the guy on the ground was black, do you think the cop would have just opened fire randomly without assessing the situation? Didn't we just see not a week ago in the last Middle America show where a individual shows up to the house with a gun, puts it down, and picks it back up again, and it was only until he fired his weapon at the police that he was then taken down. I wish Mr. Roberson would have been able to have that sort of deference. Now, this particular officer has been put on administrative leave. Mr. Roberson was a church musician who wanted to be a cop, and now we will never know. I've seen a few pictures where he had a child with him. I don't know if he had a child. I haven't done a lot of research on the situation as far as his background and his family goes. But this is a national conversation that obviously needs to continue to happen. Now, and just to continue the theme of no good deed going unpunished for black folk, in regard to the police, Charles Kinsey, 2016. A North Miami behavioral therapist trying to help a patient with autism was shot in the legs by cops responding to the scene even after he laid down on the pavement and put his hands in the air. The guy lays down on the pavement, hands in the air, you're going to be able to see it, and they shot him. Yes, they shot him. Mr. Kinsey goes on, I'm telling him again, sir, there's no need for firearms. I'm unarmed. He's an autistic guy. He's got a toy truck in his hand. See, this child was wandering out in the street with a toy in his hand, and so this particular behavioral therapist went to sit down next to him. He lays on the ground, and then he got shot. He was laid there on the ground. It took them a very long time for paramedics to come, and as he was leaving, he looked at the officer and said, sir, why did you shoot me? To which the officer responded, I don't know. Now this officer says he doesn't know. Well, I don't know, maybe this could explain it. A South Florida family is outraged at North Miami Beach police after mugshots of African American men were used as targets at a shooting range for police training. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the North Miami Beach police used the mugshots of African American men for target practice. Guess where Mr. Kinsey was shot? North Miami. You think there might be a correlation there? These are why we need to have these discussions. Look, we have a serious issue. Strong black men are viewed as threats. And as I said earlier, you gotta sympathize with the plight of the police. However, as I stated in the previous show, there was a man who showed up to the police and he greeted them with his gun. He was allowed to put his gun down. He was also allowed to take his gun up and was not taken down until he shot at one of them. Meanwhile, this man is on the ground with his hands in the air and he gets shot. So, pardon me if I'm not convinced that at 2018, by the way, the shooting of Mr. Kinsey and the controversy over the black folks used as target practice happened in 2016. So you will excuse me if I'm a bit skeptical that we have made gigantic leaps of progress because we're in 2018. That does no good for me and my black sons, believe me. Okay, well, rest in peace to Mr. Roberson. He did a good thing. He probably sacrificed his life for the sake of the lives of the people at that bar. We need to continue to have the conversation. Look, I am not anti-cop. I have a brother, I have two brothers actually, served in law enforcement. And I pray for him every day. And every time I see a police officer in the street, I go out of my way to greet him. However, we do have a problem with this stuff in America. And one of these days, we got to figure out how to get out of our party lines and stop saying the same silliness that we're supposed to say because we're Republican or Democrat. This is Middle America, y'all. We are the media. Love your neighbor. Take care of each other. Vin out.